the big boys play.
Incredible work by the American defenses. Glorious. This literally happened with Biden in Yemen, and it happened with Trump in Yemen as well. I need you to understand, if there is any American naval movement happening anywhere, there are gonna be some, 10, 20, 30, $100 million equipment failing and falling and exploding and sometimes falling off the fucking ships, the aircraft carriers, and in evasive maneuvering. It's incredible. We love melting tax dollars on fire. We love lighting tax dollars on fucking fire. It's glorious. It's just, you might as well watch a school explode in the air at that point.
Command says 3 fighter jets were shot down by friendly fire from Kuwaiti forces. CENTCOM says all 6 crew members aboard the jets ejected were safe.
John McCain's ghost is haunting our forces. Yeah. John McCain dropped 6 planes. 6 planes. And the only reason why he was incapacitated was because he was taken as a prisoner of war. Do you understand? Like, they would have put his ass back on a fucking plane even after the last incident if he hadn't been incapacitated by being taken as a prisoner of war by the Viet Cong. Understand, he was the Viet Cong's strongest soldier. That's why I always had tremendous respect for John McCain, the anti-imperialist goat. A lot of you only talk about how you want to offer critical support to the people's liberation, critical support to the North Vietnamese, but John McCain lived it, okay? He lived it. He lived it every day of his life. 6 aerial assets he dropped. 6 of them. How many American aircrafts have you destroyed? A lot of you LARP. A lot of you LARP as though you're like, oh, dude, I think it's I would love to serve. I would love to serve alongside these people. These people are doing this honorable, brave, anti-imperialist action. Fuck America. John McCain lived it. Okay.
They recovered and are in stable condition.
He lived
it. CNN geolocated video that appears to be an F-15 falling from the sky. The pilot parachuting out. There's also a video that appears to show a pilot safe on the ground after ejecting. Now, the aircraft were F-15 Strike Eagle fighter jets. CENTCOM says Kuwaiti air defenses mistakenly shot them down during active combat that included attacks from Iranian aircraft, ballistic missiles, and drones. The cause of the incident under investigation. Now, CNN following all the latest developments from around the globe, the White House, the Gulf, inside Saudi Arabia, and Israel. Let's start there. Our Nick Payton-Walsh is in Tel Aviv with the very latest on the loss of 3 U.S. aircrafts. That's a significant loss all at once, Nick.
It is startling to see 3 involved in a friendly fire incident like this, and I think it brings home the jeopardy that US troops face as this conflict widens. Look, it's clear that CENTCOM is saying here this was an active combat area. Likely, it seems, if you interpret what they said, that Kuwaiti air defenses were engaging drones, missiles, other things at the time, and mistook these F-15s as legitimate targets too. That is essentially the consequence of the war that the United States is in here. President Trump warned yesterday that there could potentially be more.
I fucking love this. I'm sorry. It's so funny. It's so funny. I was just like, wah, wah. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, baby.
شوف طلعت عندنا هني يا يبا شوف طلعت عندنا والله يا ساتر.
Oh, you can always count on these fucking $30 million bad boys, $100 million bad boys, however expensive it is to just Operation I'll just stay up and keep drinking. That way I won't be hungover at work.
Bruh.
Oh, man. What is 80 million a pop? Fantastic.
US casualties. There's been 3 so far, and let's face it, this was clearly a near miss. All 6 crew ejecting safely and now being in a stable condition, having been recovered by the US military.
We want to talk about how this happened, and here to do that is retired Army Brigadier General Steve Anderson. Thank you so much for being here, because we're going to talk not just about that plane, but also the sort of pros and cons of doing an air campaign with the goal of regime change, which is not something.
Oh, that's the second part of this. Every aspect of Operation Epic Fail, Operation Epic Fortnite Chungus, Operation Epstein's Fury is just busted, okay? Every part of this operation is so busted because the goals are wrong. The methods are impossible to achieve the stated goals for, right? Like, the goals in and of itself are idiotic. And the methods that we are willing to commit to are not going to help us achieve those goals at all. It's incredibly fucking violent. It's incredibly brutal. It's incredibly deadly. And on top of that, in the process of Operation Epic Fortnite Chungus, billions, and I mean billions of dollars of American assets in the region have been destroyed. And as a consequence of that destruction, in the hands of Iranian drone strikes, Iranian munitions, Iranian ballistic missiles, okay, we have seen, once again, that America literally either A, does not care about any of its Gulf regional allies, or is, perhaps worse, incapable of defending their own bases. Okay? Operation Epic Fail has been insane as far as like doing damage to American might and American military competence. You could not write a funnier story than this. Okay? Operation Fortnite Chungus is conducted by actual drunk assholes, drunk rapists who are just drunk at the wheel. Like, very clearly drunk driving this drunk driving the fucking car. Haas MVP? What did he do? Oh, he's putting falling planes on the screen. Okay. Wait a minute. What are these fighter jets on screen? Haas is throwing up some imagery, I think.
History has shown us really before. So first, talk about what you were seeing with that F-15. Give us the context of what our capabilities.
Okay, they don't show the funnier parts about this. Here, watch. Video showing locals approaching one of the F-15 pilots who ejected over Kuwait.
Really? You need something to help you? No problem, you're safe. You're safe. Everything good? No problem. Thank you for helping us. Everything perfect?
Oh no, bro. They're gonna hit the fucking female pilot. Oh no. Oh, they're gonna say DEI, except the other two pilots were male, but it doesn't matter.
You're fine?
Oh no. Oh no. Dude, no, do not take that helmet off. Just make your voice more coarse. Be like, yeah, I'm a white man. Oh no, we got a hashtag girl boss, dude. Oh no. Absolutely necessary to look at this. Oh yeah, this was really funny. Downed American pilot while in the shape of a swastika surrendering to a man with a stick. Come on, dude. Zero subtext, only text. It's 3 days into the Iran war. Yeah. For the record, for people who might think like, oh, it's because the Kuwaitis hate these guys. No, the Kuwaitis fucking love these guys, okay? I need you to understand something. They probably thought he was an Iranian pilot at first. And then they realized that he was an American pilot, and then they put him in the back of a car so that they could take him to a hospital.
Police? Yes, 1 minute. 1 minute. لا لا شبه الدبة 1 minute 1 minute 1 minute Police? Yes, 1 minute.
Brother, what is happening? Bro, Bro, we are not a serious country, man. They put him in the back of the car like a dog. Oh my God, dude. Oh, that's so funny. That's awesome. Kuwaitis are providing cover. Only system they have that can hit F-16s are Patriot batteries, which have lots of fail-safes due to past FF incidents. It was Iranian batteries. U.S. is just lying. Yeah, there is a suspicion on whether or not this was friendly fire. And I guess America would rather say it's friendly fire than say that it was Iranians that struck the fucking Iranians that actually struck the F-15s. Having said that, I don't know. Maybe it is. It has happened before. So, do you see that? That's my fucking truck video from an American soldier.
That's my fucking truck.
I'm inclined to believe that it's a friendly fire, because what fucking Iranian anti-aircraft system is striking Kuwaiti airspace, bro? Like, that's crazy. You know what I mean? It's like, because it literally happens right on top of the Kuwaiti airspace. Like, that's this is cognitive information warfare, e.g. lie the fuck out of everything and claim otherwise. This is a new NATO doctrine. Iran has S-300s within range of Kuwait. I don't know. Why are you laughing it up all giddy about serious matters? Okay, but none of this is funny. What am I supposed to do, man? Kill myself? What do you want me to say? Look at our fucking incompetent ass multi-trillion-dollar military, brother. What do you want? The best possible outcome here for the American military to save face is that they struck their own fucking planes. The worst possible outcome is that Iranian S-300s, Russian S-300s purchased by Iran, were able to literally laser 3 American F-15 fighter jets off of Kuwaiti airspace. And none of this needs to happen at all. So what do you want me to do? Not laugh about the fucking situation? Yeah, it's our goddamn tax dollars being lit on fucking fire. That's a school. You know what I mean? That's healthcare. But of course I'm going to laugh. At least they didn't get to go murder a bunch of fucking school children. You know what I mean? In a bombing campaign. So I'm going to laugh. I'm going to laugh a little bit. Shut the fuck up. Yes, it's funny. It's objectively funny that an F-15 pilot wasn't able to fucking go and, like, I don't know, laser some school. Before people go, F-15s don't actually do strike packages on schools or whatever the fuck. It's an aerial combat. It's an aerial combat plane. Whatever. Yes, nerds incoming. The F-15 friendly fire claim is either a lie or a U.S. command failure, but something is off, says Adam Cochran. After talking to experienced military sources, here's how we know the reporting is covered. Kuwait uses 3 types of air defense systems: Patriot, Improved Hawk, and SHORAD. A SHORAD-type air defense would not reliably take down an F-15. An Improved Hawk could hit an F-15, but because a Hawk requires constant radar illumination, the pilot would be alerted to the lock by radar detection, could deploy chaff, activate ECM, take maneuvers against it, so a Hawk striking 3 planes is deeply unlikely. The Patriot system can reliably strike targets like an F-15, and so we know it's likely that this was the system used. But Patriot systems rely on multiple ID types to engage a target. Radar track behavior rules. It shoots at things that act like a missile. IFF signature, broadcast automatic signature between fighter craft and ground systems. I mean, look, I don't know. I don't know what the what the point of failure is here, but it's the American military, so I feel like there's numerous points of failure that you could point to. Okay? How is it not funny? It's the military industrial complex being incompetent. Nobody got hurt. It's literally hilarious. Exactly. I will say a couple things that have proven to be true here. Okay, a couple things that are proven to be true here once again. And maybe a lot of you are too young to remember the numerous points of failure that took place in the global war on terror when they first went in. When you go into an active war, no matter how much you've done combat simulations, no matter how much you've like trained your troops, there are going to be very real problems when you get into a real shooting battle. Okay? It's always a clusterfuck. I mean, the one example I always use is like the Humvees. Okay? They brought all these fucking Humvees into Iraq and Afghanistan, and literally they had no coverage, no protection underneath the Humvees. So basically, all of those Humvees turned into dick explosion machines because they would just drive around, and some dude who mixed the concoction and put it into like a Teflon pan, like a boiling pot with a bunch of marbles, would put together a roadside bomb, and that shit would explode right underneath the Humvee, and every single troop's dick would explode in the process. Okay? Literally. How do you not factor in like armor underneath the goddamn Humvee? It's shit like that. It happens all the time. No matter how much you think you've factored everything into the equation, you have the most sophisticated equipment, you have the best machinery, there are always going to be issues. Okay? So there are obviously, again, numerous points of failure and many problems that are taking place with this round of epic Fortnite Chungus that we haphazardly put together as we are, lasering Iranian schools, a volleyball team, and an 86-year-old man and his whole family in his residence that we seemingly have presented as this unique espionage victory. Like, oh my God, the American and Israeli clandestine operators are so good. They've deeply penetrated Iran. It's like, bro, he was at his house. Like, that's really, this is the pivotal achievement of the CIA. He was at his house. It's mind-boggling that they're trying to fucking sell this as like as an incredible feat. Okay? Anyway, so there's a lot of, it's costly, it's bloody, it's completely it just shouldn't happen at all. I mean, it's completely ridiculous. And we're doing it anyway because that's just the way it goes. Having said that, as far as these points of failure, I mean, these are at this point you would assume that it would be expected that these sorts of things are going to happen, but seemingly it happens all the time with regular frequency. It literally happened with Ansar Allah under the Biden leadership when the Biden administration was bombing Sana'a, bombing Yemen. They had these issues. They lost, I think, 2 aircraft, right? And then Trump lost another one as well. So fantastic stuff overall.
Capabilities are in the region.
Well, there's probably at least 30 or so F-15s that are stationed there in Kuwait.
Well, now it's 27.
And they all, no doubt, took part in this massive air campaign that took over the weekend. Over 1,000 sorties were flown. You have to remember that it was an incredibly complex operation involving the Lincoln carrier battle group, the Ford carrier battle group out in the Mediterranean, all the bases that we have in the Middle East. Without a doubt, there was probably Tomahawk missiles launched from submarines, in fact. So it was an incredibly complex operation. So the fact that we'd have some kind of collision or some kind of an incident, is not that, it's not that remarkable.
Nobody's nerfect. Bro, that's awesome. That's awesome. Come on. I mean, what? Yeah, we fucking shot 3 $80 million pieces of sophisticated equipment out of the sky with $4 million missiles in the same, at the same damn time. It's normal. It happens all the time.
But what is remarkable is the performance of the American military in this and the Israeli military to have done what they've done over the last couple of days without a single shoot down is pretty remarkable.
Those aircraft were F-15 Strike Eagle fighter jets. The cause of the incident, of course, continues to be looked at, but those jets are just some of the assets that the U.S. is deploying in the air as this war expands. The military is also using remotely piloted MQ-9 Reaper drones. They carry Hellfire missiles and guided bombs. They are also using B-2 stealth bombers, valued at just...
Isn't it wonderful to see why you don't have healthcare on TV every day? This also, I love when mainstream news turns into like QVC for fucking the American military industrial complex. They're like, look at the might of our weapons. They're so fucking sick.
So you know, more than $1 billion each. The bombers usually fly out from an airbase in Missouri with a crew of 2. Now let's get the very latest from our correspondent stationed in key cities. Clarissa Ward is on the Iranian border in eastern Iraq. Let's start with you, Clarissa. What's happening there?
Hi, Kate. Well, we are here at the border. As you mentioned, today's the first day that there's some traffic going in and out. They are allowing Iranian trucks and Iranian citizens to go back into Iran, and for Iraqis who may be on the other side of the border to come back in. But I just want to play you some video of something pretty extraordinary. We just saw an Iranian Shahed drone literally flew over our heads. Take a look. And now, sorry, there was supposed to be more of that video, but we'll get that to you later. But they closed the border for a little while, then they reopened it. And now if you turn over here, you can see these trucks are starting to move again. We spoke to one Iranian truck driver who told us that he was very scared about what's happening inside Iran, but that he wanted to get back home.
Reminder, this border is going to be very consequential because this is where they're going to push the Kurdish militias in to the Iranian state through. Okay? Just so you understand, I'm telling you ahead of time, Babe Ruth calling out the fucking shot. This is the border that they are going to push the Kurdish militias through because they do not have an active mobilization on the ground. The goal here is to destabilize Iran and destroy the state, okay? The goal here is to destabilize and destroy the Iranian state. They are going to send in Kurdish militias, maybe ISIS too, who knows? ISIS would love to get a couple licks in there as well, but I know for a fact, but they are not moving. They want to keep it democratic. All parties agreed to that. Brother, just wait, okay? Just fucking wait.
As quickly as possible to be sure that he could get back to his family. Kate?
Oh, that's understandable. That's some amazing video. We're getting that all brought in and to show that more of that video that you and your team were able to get. Clarissa, we're going to be showing that for sure once we can turn that around. I really appreciate it, Clarissa. Standing by.
How hypocrite after having sacrificed Rojava? Yes. Yes. But these are separate Kurdish units. But they will do it one more time. Okay? They will do it one more time. Because they need... Okay, listen. The biggest problem from the American perspective here, pulling it back. Pulling it back and taking a top-down approach to what's going on here, okay? There are numerous factors at play. There's numerous goals here, right? Donald Trump, 100%, wants a Venezuela-style situation. You know, he did the decapitation, and then all of a sudden he finds someone that's more pliant, and he gets to deal with them. He doesn't give a shit if they're IRGC, obviously, right? The problem is Israel wants an entirely separate thing here. And I tweeted about this last night, and it's really important. I'm going to keep stressing this point over and over again because the reason why this operation is haphazardly put together and the reason why it's become a spectacular failure very quickly is because there are competing interests here. not converging interests, but diverging interests here. Because Donald Trump wants it fast and easy. Donald Trump wants boom, 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 quick in and out. Bombing campaign, negotiations process with a leveraged position, a much better position overall, and then a pliant state in Iran that's going to play ball, and it's going to say, we're really sorry, whatever your demands are, we'll let you, build a Trump Tower in Tehran, all this stuff. Israel, on the other hand, does not want that, because Israel knows that, and I tweeted this last night, large majorities of Iranians in Iran do not fuck with Israel, including the people who hate the IRGC. There are some people who like Israel and like America in Iran. Iran is a massive country, very diverse, but large majorities in general are not fans of American, are not fans of the American bombing campaigns or the Israeli bombing campaigns, right? Like, there's been polling that was conducted after the 12-day war where Iranians were very frustrated. Okay? So big chunks of the public are not fans of Israel. So even when Hasan got cooked by Charlie Kirky. I'll unban you. I just popped a perky. So, as I was saying, I forgot what I was saying. God damn it. Oh, I lost my train of thought. I'm going to receive it one more time. I'm going to get it again. So, large majorities of Iranians in Iran do not fuck with Israel, including the people who hate the IRGC. Considering that this is Israel's war, it is an important part of the equation. And it offers clarity to the Amer-Israeli airstrike targets, which include opposition figures and moderates and border guards. Okay? Because if you're wondering why America and Israel are blowing up, like, not just the heads of state, but then also trying to assassinate oppositional figures to the state, including a guy who's been on house arrest since 2011. The reason for why is because Israel does not want any real oppositional figure there, okay? Israel wants a failed state. Israel recognizes that, with the exception of like Reza Pahlavi, right, which you would need to send in American troops to defend. If you were to plant Reza Pahlavi in power, you would need American troops to defend that, right? Because there's no world where a 93 million nation is going to welcome Reza Pahlavi as the true leader of Iran. It's not going to happen. Is there some support on the ground for Reza Pahlavi? Sure. But there is no next day plan here, okay? You would need to defend Reza Pahlavi with American troops. So unless Donald Trump commits to a puppet state and designing a puppet state and defending a puppet state in Iran with no guarantees of success, mind you, okay, it's not going to happen. You can't install Reza Pahlavi. You can't just like say Reza Pahlavi walks in and he has popular support on the ground and they magically have a monarchy, they restore the monarchy, and then they do liberal democracy with a functioning monarchy on the side. It's not going to happen, right? And in the absence of that option, the only other option for Israel that is going to effectively destroy the Iranian state is just a failed state, right? Trump might want regime change, in air quotes, like in Venezuela, but Israel wants a failed state like Libya that will never threaten its expansionist ambitions again. Any real deal here for Trump means cutting out Israel, and that's not likely going to happen until it gets really costly. Okay? And right as I was tweeting that, Donald Trump gave another interview, this time to ABC, where he says the U.S. identified possible candidates to take over Iran, but they were killed in the initial strikes. He said the attack was so successful it knocked out most of the candidates. It's not going to be anybody that we're thinking of because they are all dead. Second or third place is dead. And not only that, but they're even shooting and trying to kill oppositional figures as well. Like people who are literally arrested by the administration, people who are under house arrest by the administration. If you have an ambition to actually do regime change, you can't kill the guy you're trying to fucking plant as your guy, right? You can't kill the fucking people. You can't kill the fucking people that you're supposed to put in power. You can't do that. It's insane. So this once again proves that there are diverging interests here. This is Israel's war. Israel's goals broadly are to create a failed state in Iran. America's goals are, or Trump's goals in particular, are glory and a quick in and out campaign, couple bombs, negotiations, art of the deal, as he has conducted over and over again. Like this is what he did in Venezuela. He thinks Venezuela was a massive success, right? And he's coming off the heels of that success and quote unquote success in Venezuela and going into this Iranian operation after getting the worst intel possible from Israel and probably the compromised people within his like closest administration allies like Lindsey Graham and whatnot, who are just telling him over and over again, you're going to reach glory. Israel's going to go in without you. You want a piece of this puzzle. You know how Israel is. They got the best fucking equipment. They got the best intel. We should go in with them, right? That's pretty much how this story was concocted, right? And I think Donald Trump thought, judging by what took place in Venezuela and judging by like what they perceived as the success of the 12-day war, he thought this would be going down very differently. He thought we go in, we blow some shit up, we do a decapitation strike, and then we find a much more pliant figurehead within the IRGC to deal with, and then it's over, right? We can get all of our demands across, and it's going to be totally fine. What they didn't realize, or what he did not factor in, perhaps was the information that his own generals were giving him. The CIA was telling him, don't do that. Don't do a decapitation strike. You're a fucking idiot. If you do a decapitation strike, they already have a system designed called like this decentralized mosaic. They have a horizontal movement within, they have a horizontal contingency plan where even if there is a very successful decapitation strike, they will still continue fucking bombing Israel and continue to bomb American targets, even potentially. Like everything that unfolded, Donald Trump was aware of. And we know Donald Trump was aware of it. You want to know why? Because the generals clearly leaked it to the fucking media. They literally leaked it in the buildup to this campaign. They were like, Trump is not listening to us. We're going to go and tell the media. We're going to go and tell the media that like we might actually fail. We're going to wash our hands of this failure. Right? And what this operation has shown thus far, and I know everyone wants a big W here, and I know like the Republicans are running around talking about like, oh, we did it, we killed the Ayatollah, we killed an 86-year-old guy, it's fucking over, we've done it, like, and if there's a new Ayatollah, we'll kill him too, not realizing the consequences of these actions and not realizing what this is showing to the rest of the world. Number one, it shows that America doesn't either have the motion or the ability or the care to defend its allies with military bases. All of a sudden, if you have a U.S. military base and you have a regional actor that has a lot of smoke, you're not getting protected. You're not getting any protection whatsoever. You're basically becoming a missile sponge. That's number one. Number two, if they do not have the capability of protecting these bases, then all of a sudden it's a major weakness, right? Like either they don't have enough munitions and they have to expend them protecting Israel, or they just don't give a shit at all about the Gulf nation states, which are supposed to be incredibly important petro states that are incredibly reliable and incredibly important allies for American capital. Okay? The other thing that this has shown is that if America went to war with a country like China in a proxy war, for example, right, they would get their fucking backs blown out, because the technology gap between Iran and China is insane, right? The technology gap between Iran and China is insane. The missile gap between China and Iran is insane. Like, if there was any sort of serious battle, proxy battle or not, between the Chinese state and the United States of America, we're not making it out of that. We're not making it out of that process. Okay, their manufacturing capabilities are far superior to the Iranian manufacturing. All it takes is a willingness to engage in this, right? So this, in my opinion, is completely rewriting American hegemony and the American military power, especially considering that China also, as it stands, literally holds the cards to American manufacturing and the American munitions manufacturing side, considering that they have all of the procurement and refinement processes on lock for rare earth minerals and battery systems that are necessary for American national security interests. It's not even, it's over at that point.
President Trump, it was a roughly 9-minute phone interview talking about the war in Iran. Just want to give you the quotes. He said, quote, "We're knocking the crap out of them. I think it's going very well. It's very powerful. We've got the greatest military in the world, and we're using it." I asked the president how long he thought this war might last. He said, "I don't want to see it go on too long. I always thought it would be 4 weeks, and we're a little ahead of schedule." I asked him if the U.S. was doing more to help the Iranian people reclaim their country than the military strikes, if there was other stuff going on. He said, "Yes, we are indeed, but right now we want everyone staying inside. It's not safe out there." He also suggested it was about to get even less safe. "We haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon." I asked the president about the fact that Iran attacked Arab countries in the region, Bahrain, Jordan, Kuwait, Qatar, and the UAE. He said that was the biggest surprise so far for him and his team. Quote, "We were surprised. We told them," meaning the Arab countries, "we've got this." And now they want to fight, and they're aggressively fighting. They were going to be very little involved, and now they insist on being involved. He said of the Arab leaders of those countries, "I know these people, they're tough and smart." The Iranians, he said, quote, "shot into a hotel. They shot into an apartment house. It just made them," meaning the Arab leaders, "angry. They love us, but they were watching. There was no reason for them to be involved." That was probably the biggest surprise. You have to understand they were living under that dark cloud for years, meaning the Iran.
I'm going to be honest. It's pretty funny how leaky of a fucking faucet Donald Trump is. He is such a messy bitch, dude. You cannot have a commander in chief that's a messy bitch like this. He loves yapping. Anytime an operation is going poorly, he does the fucking full spectrum. He goes to ABC, he goes to CNN, he goes to CBS. He calls journalists personally to be like, "Listen, Drake, let me tell you something, okay? It's going great. It's going great. I love the situation. I love the situation we got. Iranian attacks have been very successful. They are doing a really good job. Let me tell you, but we're doing a good job too. Everyone's doing a great job." Like, what the fuck? Dude, they basically told all the fucking Gulf states that your bases are bullet sponges. Your bases are missile sponges. We are just invested in protecting Israel. We don't even care about protecting our own troops inside of the Gulf nation states. We don't care about anything but Israel. M Israel high, M Israel high, M Israel high. That's literally what the lesson is here. Now, of course, these guys are still fucking, they can get pissed off all they want, but it's still Big Daddy America, right? But here, look, you got a Saudi official on Al Jazeera. American defense is focused on Israel without the Gulf states that host many of the military bases. And the irony, of course, this guy's not a Saudi official. Okay, whatever. Host many of the military bases. There's no doubt in my assessment, or I believe that there is, let's say, a kind of resentment towards the ally or the partner if we describe it, he's a Saudi commentator, to the American partner who focuses on Israel's security and Israel's stability without concern for the defense needs of the Arab Gulf states, which are today being subjected to Iranian strikes without American effort. Also, it doesn't matter. A Saudi analyst, same shit. Okay? Saudi analyst is not going to go on fucking Al Jazeera and say something that the Saudi government doesn't believe. Like, what are we talking about? Like, you're making it seem like there's independence amongst Saudi analysts and Saudi officials. No, any Saudi guy that is speaking on Al Jazeera is basically communicating as an organ of the government. Okay? They're speaking on behalf of the government, which is fine. I mean, I've heard this exact same thing over and over again. It makes sense. They're fucking pissed off because they're like, dude, you let Israel strike us in Doha, right? You let Israel strike Doha. Israel killed Qatari nationals in Doha. It was fucking ridiculous. And then on top of that, now all of these bases are missile sponges. You don't even have fucking protections on these bases. What the fuck are you doing? Ironically enough, what is really interesting about this process also is that when America let go of their own bases and turned them into missile sponges and Shahed drone sponges in particular, what they ended up doing was also harm Israel's defenses as well. I don't know what kind of communication exists, but like the early advanced warning systems, the radar towers that Iran took out probably also play a role in the Iron Dome's defenses not being as good, right? Because the entire region, all of the American bases and all of the American early advanced warning systems that exist in the region that have now been blown up actually reduce the success rating in the interceptions that Israel can conduct. And that's part of the reason why you're seeing more and more of these fucking Iranian missiles fall on Tel Aviv. So it's not like Iran is blowing up the Gulf bases for no reason. They're not just like blowing up the Gulf bases because they're pissed off at the Gulf for allowing the American bases to exist on their soil. They're blowing it up for a very real purpose. Oh, I'm sure Hasan has a better strategy than the military. Wait, should I not do any commentary? Should I not even like talk about what's going on, what's unfolding in front of our eyes? Like, should I just sit there and be like, I'm sure the military has a better idea of what's going on? Like when 3 F-15 fighter jets fall, am I supposed to be like, the American military knows they wanted those F-15 fighter jets to fall? Is that what I should be saying here? Like, how can you not look at this situation and see it as a spectacular failure? You think America looks good in this process? The mightiest military on the planet, the most sophisticated equipment on the planet, and they just left their fucking radar towers unguarded. Like, with the exception of Al Udeid, which is where the fucking CENTCOM is, they don't have any fucking missile defenses. These bases were not even being hit with ballistic missiles for the most part. They were being hit with Shahed drones. Do you know how fucking cheap that is in comparison? It's nothing for the Iranian government to keep fucking sending these like slow ass drones to hit the radar tower over and over and over again for like the past 48 fucking hours. We've seen it. Yeah, it's like a flying tractor, dude. They can be shot down with conventional small arms. You understand? They could be shot at with like AK-47s if necessary. For $30,000 with a Shahed drone, you can take out $1 billion worth of equipment. $1 billion worth of equipment. That is an incredible strategy for the Iranian side. Obviously not law, but we can't pretend we understand why the bases haven't been evacuated. Might have been strategic. I mean, even if you don't like the military, they're not completely stupid. No, brother. It's because America, no matter how mighty its military is, does not have infinite munitions. I'm already explaining to you that when you make a strategic evacuation, you're making that decision with the full knowledge that you are focusing entirely on Israel's defense. That's what's going on. Also, there is a party involved in this that you can't really fully factor in, like how they're going to respond. It's the Iranian side. And it's very clear that the American government, the American military, understood how Iran would retaliate. But the top of the fucking, the commander-in-chief was clearly way more focused on the intel that he was getting from Israel and false assurances that he was getting from fucking Israel. That's my point. The point that I've been making is that the Arab states are eventually going to fucking run out of interceptors because they don't have unlimited funds. They have a finite resource here. This is not, Israel doesn't have unlimited resources to defend itself. This is something that the American generals were very aware of and kept telling Donald Trump. They kept telling Donald Trump this. And when Donald Trump didn't listen, they went to the fucking media. They leaked it to the media. They said, we don't have unlimited resources. It's going to look really bad for China. If China wanted to fucking go and like attack Taiwan, we would be completely shit out of luck. But the real reason why they were saying it was because we don't have enough missiles to even defend fucking Israel eventually. Now, the question remains, I think the Israeli side here, which is totally fucking guiding this entire process, this military quagmire, they know how to manipulate Trump really well. Okay? They know how to manipulate Trump very well. They're exceptional at manipulating Donald Trump. Okay? Because Trump is very malleable. He's so easily persuaded, especially when he thinks someone is like brilliant, you know what I mean? And he clearly thinks like, oh, the Israelis, they got the best intel. They're really, really smart. He doesn't like Benjamin Netanyahu personally that much, but Benjamin Netanyahu can basically tell him like, no, you don't understand. You will be glorified. Like you will be remembered as a fucking hero that finally toppled the Iranian regime. Come on, think about this, right? And then Donald Trump believes him because he's a fucking idiot. And all of the other pedophiles in his fucking corner are they've been salivating at the prospect of this no matter what the fucking cost is, right? And basically what's going on here is clearly that Israel knows that they can just, once they committed Donald Trump to this process, he's not going to fucking pull out with egg on his face. Okay? They committed Donald Trump to blowing up Iran, and now he's stuck. And now he's just fucking stuck. That's it. He's stuck in this military campaign that he wanted to get out of with a swift exit. He thought he could get a fucking a better leverage negotiation position. He was an idiot, and the Israelis lied to him 100%. Or he's compromised by Israel. I mean, look at the fucking Epstein files. I don't know. But like, regardless, he clearly doesn't care enough. He clearly doesn't care enough about anything beyond like what he could have gotten as far as like a good deal from Iran. Decapitation strike, good deal from Iran. So now the question is, when Donald Trump eventually realizes in and around like by the end of this week, okay, when Donald Trump eventually realizes that there is no fucking perfect destabilization initiative, when he realizes that like this is not going to be fast and easy and that Iran does have hands, okay, when he realizes that, what does he do? Does he commit more assets? Does he actually commit a more aggressive response to Iran? Does he commit to blowing up the entire fucking country? How much longer can he go? Will it be appropriate if oil barrels are $150 a barrel? Will that be good? There's also the other side of the story, the benefits that this has for You know, let's say you close the Strait of Hormuz. A lot of the oil that goes to India and a lot of the oil that goes to China travel through the Strait of Hormuz. It's like most of the fucking Gulf states. Some of them go through the Red Sea, but that's a marginal amount of oil that's passing through the Red Sea as opposed to the fucking Strait of Hormuz. Almost all of the oil for all of the GCC states, including Saudi Arabia, pass through the Strait of Hormuz. And now that Iran is talking about closing the Strait of Hormuz, all of a sudden that's going to skyrocket the oil prices. I wouldn't worry about until you're just a naysayer to everything. As long as the subs keep brawling in, you'll be fine. Or better yet, why don't you go live in one of these countries you're so fond of? Why don't you do that? I was literally live in Doha a month ago. That's number one. Number two, I will be live from Havana, Cuba in you know, a couple weeks. And not only that, but also this is like what fucking difference does it make to my analysis? Like, do you have a disagreement here, or are you just going to be like live as in live in? Oh, okay. Yeah, I also did stay for an extended period of time in China as well. Yeah, no, I think I'm going to stay here. I'm an American citizen, and I want my tax dollars to actually go to good things that help the American population, as opposed to like defending Israel's interests in the region, no matter how fucking insane and bloodthirsty those interests might be. But it's okay. You can continue being cattle. This bait doesn't even work in the context of this topic, lol. I know. You know, what do you mean? Oh, you don't like your tax dollars going to fucking melt American troops at the behest of Israel's expansionist agenda in the region? Why don't you leave America and go live in what? A country that's being bombed by America instead? Why would I do that? How does this make any fucking sense to you? Nothing makes sense to you because you're a fucking idiot. I pay more taxes than you do, bitch. Okay? Shut the fuck up. By the way, your analysis was correct about the Iranian reasoning behind the hotel strike. Yeah. An Iranian drone strike in a hotel in Bahrain injured 2 U.S. Defense Department employees, according to the State Department cable reviewed by the Washington Post. I told you. And a lot of chatters were chirping at me. I was like, look, this isn't to say that like Iran is not interested in causing chaos and doing terror, right? Of course they are. But they have limited strike opportunities. Why wouldn't they fucking use them? Why wouldn't they use them on like appropriate targets? It's crazy they had intel for this. I wonder which country has incredible surveillance technology that they might be feeding to the Iranians. It could be Iranians' own surveillance, or it could be another major world power that's potentially aiding the Iranians a little bit with their surveillance expertise. I mean, Iranians are also very good at cybersecurity too. Like the Handala guys are like pretty fucking aggro. And no, it's not Russia. I'm talking about China, dude. I suspect that there's a lot of Chinese aiding and abetting happening here. No, I'm not talking about Albania. When Iranian officials told DropSite they were targeting hotels in Bahrain because they had intelligence on U.S. troops there, I thought it was some kind of cope. Turns out it was true. An Iranian drone strike in a hotel in Bahrain injured 2 U.S. Defense Department employees, according to a State Department cable reviewed by the Washington Post. 2 U.S. Department of War personnel were injured, the cable said, referring to the Department of Defense. The cable, which was sent out Sunday, did not provide further details. The State Department did not comment. The Defense Department did not immediately respond to requests for more information. There is suspicion that they blew up a CIA position. That's number one. And there's also suspicion that they blew up a couple contractors as well. So, yeah. You mentioned that Iran is degrading systems that likely factor into Israel's defense before and after satellite imagery of the destroyed radar and storage naval base in Bahrain. Yeah. I think that this entire net of radar systems that exists in the Gulf region play a major role in Israel's defenses. And I think America made a fucking massive mistake just leaving these places unguarded and allowing them to become fucking Shahed drone sponges, which is insanely cheap, by the way, because like war of attrition also has an economic toll, right? There's an economic cost analysis here. And when Iran is striking with $20,000 lawnmowers that fly at $1.5 billion worth of satellite equipment, that's insane. That's insane cost. It's insanely economic for Iran to engage in this kind of thing. Okay, obviously on the American side for the military industrial complex, that's great. That's economic activity that's going to happen. But like, there's tremendous upside for Iran. Yes, it's very cost effective. There is very little risk and very high reward for the Iranian side to keep pummeling these American bases. And on top of that, that plays along with their with the larger goal here, the more consequential goal here, which is to embarrass and punish Israel and America. And obviously, when they blow up those radar facilities, that also undermines the network of surveillance that exists, that undermines the Israeli defenses in general. Okay, U.S. intelligence treated an uprising as a remote scenario, yet many in the hawkish Iran analyst echo chamber confidently sold the idea that Iran was a paper tiger and regime change would come fast at little cost. How do you believe things end up at the end of this conflict? Not good, no matter what. Like I said, the best case scenario out of all of the devastating options is that the IRGC pulls the country together and it keeps some semblance of stability internally. They're able to purge any sort of intervention that's happening on the ground from Kurdish militias passing through the Iraqi border or ISIS or anything like that, while simultaneously continuing to punish American assets in the region, continue to punish Israel as well. And it gets so costly that both Trump's popular base of support in America falls apart and his popularity craters to a degree where he has to react differently, or they continue engaging in this. They continue hurting economic output so much in the region, specifically oil, specifically the amount of oil that can pass through the Strait of Hormuz. So much so that Trump starts getting boss calls from the likes of, the petro capitalists. And they tell Trump, you need to fucking figure this shit out. All of that will eventually lead to Donald Trump cutting Israel out of the equation and releasing Israel and then saying Israel is the bad guy in this process. But it will take a lot for America to do that, especially Donald Trump. S&P 500 slips into negative territory. NASDAQ 100 follows suit. Iran's Revolutionary Guard commander says Strait of Hormuz is closed. How do you feel about a Kurdish autonomous zone in Iran? I feel fucking horrible about it. I feel like that's an insane thing. I feel like Americans need to literally shut the fuck up. It's insane that we're like, I thought long gone were the days of like Sykes-Picot or whatever, you know what I mean? I thought we weren't like piecing up. Bad take? What? Bad take? Shut the fuck up, dude. What are you talking about? What do you mean bad take? Oh no, we just get to piece up other countries. What are you talking about? This is a sovereign state, man. It's ridiculous. Especially when talking about Kurds in Iran, which, I'm sure there will be plenty of fucking policy papers to prove me wrong, but it's like, it's ridiculous that we get to balkanize other sovereign countries. Like, what are you talking about? Yeah, let's make Kurdish Israel happen, please. So far, the war has cost the U.S. taxpayer $1.9 billion. I know that it's higher than that, by the way. I think this is a very conservative estimate. Okay? $1.8 billion. I don't know if this actually factors in the damage from the radar facilities and the bases that have been blown up and cratered. But things are not looking too good. Apocalyptic vibes on the front page of the Washington Post. Trump says operation in Iran to last 4 to 5 weeks or far longer. U.S. pledges to send more troops as war widens. What about balkanizing Chinatown to its own autonomous zone for China? I'm in favor of that. So, yeah, this is costly, it's bloody, it's unacceptable, and it's being done at the behest of Israel, which actually offers a uniquely negative framing to the issue in the eyes of the American public, which is part of the reason why I think you're seeing a lot more Americans say, why the fuck is this happening? Because Americans love war. There's always a little bit of rallying around the flag amongst the nationalist side in the United States of America. And there's obviously the MAGA cult that will scream for years and years about no more regime change wars and how fucking bloody and costly that shit is and how stupid that shit is, and then vote for Trump because he's going to be the peace candidate. And then Donald Trump turns around and says, no, actually, war in Iran is good. Regime change war in Iran is good. I wanted it. That's America first. And then a bunch of dummies say, you're right. Right? A bunch of dummies in the base will turn around and go, yes, Mr. President, I love that actually. I've decided I love that. The problem here is for many Americans in the edges, for many Americans in the margins, even those in the MAGA movement, Donald Trump said he was going to do no new wars, and they believed it. So all of a sudden, they're going to be like, well, what the fuck is this? What the fuck is this? What do you mean I wanted no new wars? Now you're doing a regime change war and Americans are dying and you're doing this for Israel. It's not looking too good. It's not looking too good for the base. It's not looking too good for the capitalists if the Strait of Hormuz is like successfully closed, which draws America into a naval battle with Iranian naval assets. We don't know what that's going to look like. I don't know how relevant the Millennium incident is. In 2002, there were war games very famously conducted. It cost $250 million to put together these war games to see what it would look like if the American naval assets fought the Iranian naval assets. And the American general that was supposed to be in charge of the Iranian side literally destroyed the American naval fleet over and over again, so much so that they had to literally change the rules, and they had to make sure that the Iranian side was not able to use certain tactics. Okay. So I don't know if they learned important lessons from that, but judging by current performance of the American Navy and the American military in general in the region, I don't know. So if this goes into naval conflict as well, Iran has like what, 30 assets, right? Total. America has, Millennium Challenge 2002. Everyone is going to fucking talk about this in the upcoming days. Just, I don't know how important it is right now. I don't know how much it factors in to the current, technology has improved so much since then. So it's not necessarily a good benchmark. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I'm just bringing it up to just so you understand that like America is aware that a naval battle with the Iranian Navy would not look as great for the American side as you would think. But it's been, it's 2002 versus now. So who knows? But the Iranian side has also more complex tools as well, more sophisticated tools as well. So, European natural gas prices surged almost 50% on Monday as the war in Iran strangled shipping through the Strait of Hormuz. There's also that element. This also ruins the economy of the Gulf states as well. So they're going to be feeling it. Iran is basically implementing a sanctions crippling sanctions on the Gulf nation states by saying the Strait of Hormuz is closed. Why don't we just let it happen? Why is this so bad? Wait, what? Why is it so bad? I mean, it's worse for China. Let's be real. And that's the American cope. It's great for Russia, right? It's terrible for India. It can be really bad for Pakistan, but Pakistan is right there with Iran, so they can still send oil to Pakistan regardless if they choose to do so. So it could be beneficial for Iran and the Iranian economy. But wait, you said, isn't Iran bad? Why don't we just let it happen? Why is this so bad though? Wait, what? Okay, chatter. First and foremost, this good-bad dynamic, you got to let go of that, okay? These are nation states we're talking about. There are millions of people that live inside of these countries. Many of them have unique dreams, unique opinions. They have lives that are worthy of dignity. You know, these are sovereign states that we're talking about, okay? That's number one. Number two, if we're looking at good-bad dynamics, I think America takes the cake regardless. You don't want to do that equation anyway. America and Israel are both significantly worse than most other countries by the widest of margins, okay? But ultimately, it's bad because it also harms America. This is bad because it's bad for every reason that you can think of. It's bad because we're killing children, okay? 100+ little girls were slaughtered at school in the first barrage of attacks, okay? So that's not good. And number two, on top of that, this is destroying America's, this is American expenditure that is utterly unnecessary. The entire region is now on fire. The global economy is going to take a massive hit with no real success in sight. A prolonged campaign against Iran could also produce a failed state with enriched uranium, destabilize crucial oil routes, threaten Gulf allies, trigger a refugee crisis, disrupt the global economy. There is a million different reasons why the worst case outcome, the outcome that Israel wants, by the way, is devastating for the entire planet. But because Israel is a fascist state, they have no problems engaging in an act of mass suicide. Killing the supreme leader was one thing. Ousting the regime will be another. That's why I keep repeating that the best case scenario for the entire planet right now is that the IRGC keeps things intact and then America pulls out and they cut a favorable deal that cuts Israel out of the equation, at least for the time being, because Israel's going to come back again and again and again. And that eventually there's a guy that Trump trusts enough on the Iranian side where he will do ease of sanctions or whatever the fuck. Like the negotiations process will be beneficial for both parties involved. That is the least bad option out of, that's still not the best option, but it's the least bad option. The worst option is Israel gets to commit more American troops, boots on the ground military warfare, complete collapse of the Iranian government. 93 million people live there. The entire nation. Brother, I live deeply inside of your brain. Like inside of your fucking brainstem. There's a lot of room up there too. It's empty as fuck. This is what I mean when I say Hasan derangement syndrome. It transcends boundaries. Like it's so weird. It's so pathological. Bro is literally in the chat of another streamer and he's like, "Oh, I can't wait to make a joke and then I can't wait for Hasan to steal my fucking joke."
They were attacked and by someone else. Israel attacked them. They hit us first and we waited for them to hit us. We would suffer more casualties and more deaths. We went proactively in a defensive way to prevent them from inflicting higher damage. Had we not done so, There would have been hearings on Capitol Hill about how we knew that this was going to happen and we didn't act preemptively to prevent more casualties and more loss of life.
The U.S. was forced to strike because of an impending Israeli action?
No, well, let me two things I would say. Number one is, no matter
is swept away in ethnic conflict, sectarian fighting over and over again, and there's no more real state that exists there, and now you have incredibly angry IRGC guys that still control some of the munitions. They have no safeguards whatsoever. They have no restrictions whatsoever in how they deploy the weapons any longer. They can now directly strike civilian targets with no care or consideration, with no military goals whatsoever. And then tens of millions of people are displaced in the process as well. They go to all the other countries that then destabilize all the other countries as well. I mean, it's horrible. Now you got like, you know, super ISIS, Omega ISIS, basically. But this time it's not even ISIS. It's like the people who killed ISIS who have a lot better understanding of how to fight. I don't know where this goes. I mean, it would be completely devastating. The worst option also is like Israel fucking deploys a mini nuke or something in Tehran because they realize that they're not going to fucking win. And you know, their munitions are running out. And instead of coming to a reasonable conclusion here, they just like try to deploy a mini nuke, and then the entire world is on fire from that point on. You know, there's a lot of really, really bad options here. Which is why, in comparison to all those really bad options, the one that is perhaps the best option is going to be America eats a lot of the America ends up with incurring a lot of costs, and it's too costly politically at the domestic level for Donald Trump. His base starts yelling at him. American troops come back and, you know, flag draped coffins. It becomes too big of an issue for him. And instead of leaning into a longer military quagmire, they pull out. And they pull out and they cut Israel out of the equation. Don't joke, bro. How likely is that nuclear hypothetical future? I mean, it's not very likely, but still an option, because again, Israel is suicidal. Israel's a fascist country. Israel is a fascist country. And fascism is a suicidal death cult. They have literally opened up new fronts every single day. They're now bombing Lebanon again. To be clear, in the mini nuke scenario, Israel will be saying how they told you so about Iranian nukes, and the Western media will puppet that as Iranian. I don't think they'll be able to get away with that kind of propaganda. So do you think Israel has overstepped this time? Israel's been overstepping. The only difference is whether or not Trump recognizes that Israel's overstepping and it's too costly for him because all of his billionaire friends start calling him and being like, dude, you need to cut this out. What the fuck are you doing? Trump is not a committed Zionist in the way that Biden was, okay? Interesting. Between this and the sus leak, the WAPO, seems like someone really wants to turn the Saudis against Iran, sink the 2023 rapprochement that China brokered. Oh, yeah. The other side of this equation is Washington Post coming out with that bullshit story. As you guys know, I'm not a big Saudi fan at all, okay? I'm not a big fan of the KSA. I'm not a big fan of MBS. Having said that, Washington Post eradicated its fucking Middle Eastern office, and then all of a sudden they got this major story that claimed that that MBS, in spite of what they were saying in their public posture, was secretly petitioning America to go to war with Iran. I don't believe that. I said I don't believe that initially, and I actually do not believe that at all. I think that's American intelligence like trying to, or Israeli intelligence trying to potentially disrupt whatever kind of like rapprochement or whatever kind of like negotiations Saudi Arabia and Iran put together. Saudi Arabia and Iran are not fans of one another. That much is clear. It's obvious. They never have been. They've been waging proxy wars all around the fucking region. But in one of the last iterations, Saudi Arabia literally aligned with Iran to get the UAE out of Yemen. So, and that happened only a couple months ago. So I don't think that Saudi Arabia wanted this defanged Iran to be completely destroyed. I think it's actually beneficial for them to have no more proxies in the region, but then still kind of exist as a sovereign power, especially because Saudi Arabia also has to make the calculation on what happens when Israel decides to take over Saudi territory in the greater Israeli project. You know what I mean? So I'm not that invested in the Washington Post report that claimed that Saudi Arabia was really petitioning the American government to do a death blow to Iran. I don't think that was real. I think that was bullshit. Saudi Arabia will eventually be able to figure out where the missiles came from that struck their oil field. And if it's confirmed if it was Israel, that'll have regional implications for a generation. The reason why we're talking about this is because the Iranian government has said to CNN, the Iranian deputy foreign minister to CNN said, "We are not responsible for the bombing of the Saudi oil fields and have not informed our brothers in the kingdom of that." They very quickly came out and said, "We didn't blow up the Aramco fields. That wasn't us." The question is, who did it? And the question is, why did they do that? It's bullshit, and Bernie just jumped on this fake-ass story. I think that if Iran was interested in blowing up the Aramco fields, they would make a big show of it because it's their final option, right? It's their final option, and they have struck the oil fields in the past. The Houthis have struck the oil fields in the past. I don't think it was Iran this time around. Yeah. If you say Netanyahu dragged the United States into war with Iran, that dishonest creep Jonathan Greenblatt will call you an anti-Semite. But here's the lead of the New York Times report on how Trump decided to go to war. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel walked through the Oval Office on the morning of February 11th, determined to keep the American president on the path to war. Also, Benjamin Netanyahu came out and literally said, "Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you, Donald Trump, for giving me my most important wish, my childhood dream of striking Iran yesterday." So this is the reason why I get mad when motherfuckers in my chat too go, "Oh, well, don't you think it's like still, an unsinkable aircraft carrier?" Yeah, we've moved past that point. Okay, when new information presents itself, you have to factor that into your new analysis, right? At this point, especially this iteration of the conflict, if you think this is not Israel driving the fucking American state into war, you're a little delusional. I'm sorry. Why does Israel get to do that? Is it because of Jewish hypnosis? Fuck no, of course not. A big part of that is the fact that they have a super sophisticated propaganda machine and have been able to exist inside of the American government despite being a fucking foreign entity for 80 plus years as a consequence of being this incredibly important ally in the region, a destabilizing factor in the region. But post Barack Obama, it's very clear that Israel is in the driver's fucking seat. That's it. This is Israel's war. This is not some Pat Buchanan shit. Okay, this is different than Iraq. This is different than all of the other previous wars that America has engaged in. Okay, and like I said, it's not because propaganda, also known as Jewish hypnosis. Yeah, like it's not some like organized Jewry or anything like that. It's not that at all. But if you think that Israel is not using Donald Trump like a fucking cum sleeve here, you're delusional. I'm sorry. What, do you remember this video you made May 8th?
Today's action sends a critical message. The United States no longer makes empty threats. When I make promises, I keep them.
And just like that, we are at the precipice of the largest conflict in the Middle East by pulling out of the Iran
deal for literally zero fucking real reason. Because come on guys, Saudi war crimes against Yemeni civilians was honestly becoming too mundane. The IDF firing off live rounds at press and peaceful protesters at the Gaza border is boring as heck. Our robust military-industrial complex is bursting at the seams looking for a new war to justify increased military spending on. And I've been talking about this for months and now it's finally here. Listen to me when I say this. We are at the precipice of a global conflict that will not end well. But first, let's look at how we got here. Obama and European nations put together a denuclearization deal with Iran, which Iran has been complying with in order to avoid sanctions. However, Trump has consistently threatened to pull out of the deal, stating that he can put together a better one, or whatever other reasons he parrots directly from his warhawk generals and administration officials, or Fox and friends on any given day. Let's also not forget that after Trump's trip to Tel Aviv, an unknown client literally hired the same fucking ex-Mossad contractors who worked to cover up Harvey Weinstein's rapes to uncover dirt on Obama administration officials to sully the Iran deal. We don't know who it was. They claim that it wasn't Donald Trump. We don't know. Just think about that for a second. People want to rip up this Iran deal so badly that they look to the literal ex-Mossad agents who covered Harvey Weinstein's rapes for the answers. And while that's happening on the diplomatic negotiation side, there are also ongoing proxy wars in the region. On one side, in this proxy war, you have the US, Saudi, and Israeli coalition of unlikely and likely allies that are interested in maintaining geopolitical power in the region. And on the other side is the coalition of Iran and Russia, which seeks to increase their regional influence. The other two major interested parties are Turkey and China. Turkey has played both sides by both downing a Russian fighter jet over Syria, but then also putting together a massive pipeline deal with Russia, which is why Russia is involved in the Syrian conflict to begin with, to build pipelines. But with permission from the United States, Turkey has also taken over the Syrian border town of Afrin, which had been held by Kurdish forces supported by the US. So Turkey's playing both sides, and as a massive player in the region, Turkey will be a key factor in how a potential war may play out. Then you have China dipping its toes in the water by sending the nation's Siberian Tiger Special Forces to fight alongside Assad in Syria late last year. None of these nations want a war though. The side that absolutely wants a war is the coalition formed between Israel,
Iran lied, big time,
Saudi Arabia, and you might have guessed it, but the US.
We'll continue to work closely with our Saudi partners to counter threats to this country's security. That, of course, starts with Iran. Iran destabilizes this entire region.
No, bitch. The United States destabilizes the entire region. What the hell are you even talking about? If there's one country that is consistently reneged on previous deals worldwide, it's us. But what do we expect when the US is the country that turns a blind eye to Saudi involvement in 9/11, where 17 of the 19 hijackers were Saudi nationals, and then turns around and asks Iran to pay the victims of 9/11? It's like nothing matters anymore. We're just straight up lying. But I guess we do that all the time. We doubled military discretionary spending and put Pompeo in charge of soft power and Bolton in charge of our military for a reason, right? It's war, baby. It's happening. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not an apologist for the Iranian regime in any way. Ayatollah Khomeini was an absolute shitlord of the highest order, and his reinterpretation of certain verses in the Quran are literally the reason why we have suicide bombers. But an all-out war against a nation state like Iran will result in... That was bullshit. I was wrong. I was libbed up.
Millions of dead people. This is unlike the disproportionate warfare the United States has engaged in post-World War II. You're not exactly dropping phosphorus on North Korean villagers wielding AK-47s or fighting against rebel groups that are using the RPGs you supplied them 2 decades ago. This is real war, the kind that no one wants. So here's what I think could potentially happen. 1, a Hezbollah false flag attack or real bombing campaign against Israel, which will lead to increased military involvement from the United States in a full-scale global conflict, forcing all of the nations involved into the throes of global warfare. And also, even if Iran continues to comply with a nuclear disarmament, the US coalition could just lie and claim that they aren't to justify boots on the ground. I mean, we literally did that with Iraq, and not that long ago. It's still ongoing. But that's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is the Trump administration winning a symbolic victory by renegotiating the same essential deal, and then Iran agrees because they don't want to...
Leftist Brian Tyler Cohen vibes? Brother, come on. That's crazy. This is me shitting on the American government pulling out of the JCPOA back in May 8th, 2018. Okay? That's crazy. This is a video from May 8th, 2018.
a war with the US either. But the question then becomes, will Israel and Saudi Arabia accept any peace?
Now that the Ayatollah is deep frying in hell, who's going to be your next guest speaker? I love these guys, man. I fucking love my hog haters. They literally think like, oh, Hasan, you love the Ayatollah. You're paid for by the Ayatollah. And now I bet you're so sad he died, bro. That's literally all I've been seeing in my replies on Twitter. People just being like, you can't have a nuanced approach to anything. You must love the Ayatollah. Prove me wrong, bub. You're not Wolverine, brother. What do you mean, bub? Not gonna lie, can't wait for the first video of you watching you. Yeah.
With the current Iranian government, or will they demand regime change? And with that, inevitable war. I'm Hasan Piker, and I'm
Prove you shit on the Ayatollah 8 years ago on this video you're watching? Yeah. Well, I was libbed up when I was like, Ayatollah's false interpretation of the Quran is the reason why suicide bombers exist is bullshit. That's what I was saying I was wrong about. Also, my analysis on Saudi Arabia now is entirely different. And the reason why I say that is because I think the conditions have changed. Is Hasan going to have a new guest speaker on now that the Ayatollah isn't deep fried in shit? Is Africa like Wakanda now that the white man isn't there? This is what this guy is saying on the Asmongold chat. And he couldn't get enough bias confirmation from the Asmongold chat. KDA will be better overall. Hasan, probably after he steals my comment. With drones, everyone KDA will be better. I should be careful. Hasan might steal my joke. He's saying this in Asmongold's chat.